Hello. This is going to be just a short live. It was a just the breaking news right now is they found Karissa and Billy Fretwell's bodies. Okay, now there's a lot of people on Facebook doing the classic, you know, who can be more emotional? Oh wow! I like they say, well. Like they thought that maybe they were still alive. Is there anybody out there that thought there was even a remote chance that they were alive at this point? I don't think anybody thought that. Okay? I mean, reasonable-minded people, I don't think there isn't a soul out there that thought that they were still alive. Okay? I mean, I didn't even have hope for that. Zero. I mean, it sucks, but that's just the reality of it. But I know it's kind of cool when people type in, oh, wow, I'm devastated. Wow. I really felt like they were gonna... Really? I mean, are you serious or just joking around? Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but it's no more sad than it was a week ago, right? I get what you're saying, but a week ago they were not alive too, and everybody knew it. I mean, I actually am like, oh, thank God. I actually had a positive feeling that finally they found the bodies, and now this guy won't get off on some technicality. He's going to be... You know, that same exact thing that we were talking about, corpus delecti, right? They have the body now, and he's toast. But without that, you know, who knows what could happen. So I actually got a sense of, like, joy almost. Like, yes, they can bust this guy now. Right? I mean, I hope that's not offensive, but it's like, I think everybody knew that they weren't alive, and I was just hoping they'd find the bodies so that they could, you know, have all the evidence they need. Apparently she was shot in the head. And you kind of wonder how that took place. Just a second. Oh, thanks, Mary. I appreciate it. I mean, is there anybody in here that's not glad that they found the bodies? Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you wish they hadn't found the bodies, Mag? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I was sad, you know, a few weeks back when I knew that they weren't alive. Today I don't have any extra sadness, though. Today it's more, yes, they found the bodies. Now they can prosecute this guy. Because nothing changed for me. Yeah. Right, yeah, it's a blessing to the family. Now they can actually bury... I mean, it's... You know, it's a bad situation all around, but it's been bad this whole time. Yeah. Yeah, it's closure for being able to get a case going, but there's never going to be closure for the family. That's an erroneous term that people use all the time. Oh, wow, we're going to get closure now. That doesn't happen. Just ask any victim or survivor if they felt like there's closure. Not one of them says, oh yeah. All they really say is, well, we're able to move to a different chapter of our life. Stuff like that. Yes, I'm still coughing. All right. So here we go. Here's by KOIN TV. Here's what they were saying. The bodies of missing mother Karissa Fretwell and her son Billy have been found. The Yamhill Sheriff's Office says the bodies were discovered Saturday in a wooded and remote area approximately 10 miles west of the city of Yamhill. I wonder how in the hell they found that. It's unbelievable. I mean, the FBI has got some crazy stuff going on. So let's just kind of type in, like, go to Yamhill and... Okay, and then 10 miles east, they said? What did they say? Hold on. West. Okay, so 10 miles west of Yamhill. So, just kind of... So, you know, somewhere out in this area. All right. Hey, thanks, Crystal.
Well, he got out of child support. Yep, he won. Sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly. He's an idiot. Yeah, so somewhere kind of out in there. I just want to get a sort of a visual on how this might have worked. So where did they live? Now there goes my stomach. First encounter. I don't know if that, why I have that in there. Okay, yeah, so they lived right here. Must not have that in the right folder. No, it's in there. Okay. So that's interesting then. Let me go to Yamhill again. Yeah, so this is where he lived, up here. And, you know, somewhere in this area is where she was, I mean, the two were found. So it is kind of in between, just off to the east a little bit there. And then, let's see, where did she live? Yeah. So she lived in this apartment way down here. And this is where the Cascade Steel Rolling Mills is, where he worked. And where he'd left. So he must have came down here. You kind of wonder when the actual... when they were killed. You know? Well, sometime, I believe, sometime that evening, right, like around 10 o'clock at night, something like that. Hey, thanks, Mag.
Happy Father's Day, Gray, and all the dads out there. Face blowing a kiss.
Right. Look at that. Hey, I appreciate it. I guess I have blue. Alright, Carissa's cause of death was determined to be a gunshot wound. Billy is undetermined, pending tests. The bodies were identified on Sunday by a medical examiner. 52-year-old Michael Wolf had been indicted by a grand jury for murder and kidnapping in the case. Fretwell, 25, and her 3-year-old son were last seen May 13th and were reported missing May 17th. Wolf is the biological father of Billy, and DNA tests in a child support hearing revealed. Wolf was arrested at Blue Star Donuts in downtown Portland on May 24th. In late May, KOIN 6 News obtained the probable cause documents, we have that describe the days after Karissa Fretwell went missing and her relationship with Wolf. They also describe how police watched surveillance footage of Wolf on the night of the May 13th, the night Fretwell allegedly went missing. The Fretwells. The document also shows that Wolf and Fretwell's cell phones pinged in the same areas that night. You know, and so that's probably why he would have been convicted regardless of finding the bodies, in my opinion. It's not really close to there, but Cascade Steel Rolling Mills is here, and that would it's almost like he had the bodies in his vehicle or something. But to be honest, I don't remember the exact let's see, the ping times. I know that he was at her house, it seems like around 10 o'clock on the 13th at night. I'd have to go get the probable cause hearing again. Maybe I can find that really quick. Yeah, so this is where they found the bodies approximately. They just said 10 miles east of Yamhill. So, I mean, it's somewhere in this area over here. And so I would guess that's about 15 or 20 from work. Yeah, but, well, that's about 11. That looks so much further than that. Maybe I have the wrong measurement here. Just a second. Yeah, it's 10, 8, 9. It's 11.8. Huh. Just visually, that looks way like a good 2 or 3 miles more. Not sure why it's just 1. Or, I guess it's 2. It is just woodland gray. I don't know what that means. Just they were found in a wooded and remote area. That's how they describe it. There was another article that popped up. Let me see what that one says. Well, here's one on Oregon Live. The bodies of a missing Salem woman and her infant son were found Saturday, so yesterday, in a wooded and remote area of Yamhill. I wonder why there was no, like somebody actually asked for an update yesterday. And I guess they had found the bodies yesterday, but it wasn't reported until today. So that person, maybe they were psychic. Oh my God. Yeah, well, Wolf, he works at a mill. I think he's in some sort of like security capacity. He and Karissa had met a few years back, and he was married, so he was cheating on his wife, and he got her pregnant. And he didn't want her to have the kid, but she decided to have the child and said she would raise it on her own. And then when times got rough, she took him to court, got DNA tests, and he was gonna have to be paying $900 and something a month child support. And then he decided that instead of paying child support, he would just kill them, like any barbarian would do. he tried to keep it from his wife, and then apparently she found out, more recently. And I think her and Michael were going to try to take over the custody of the child. That's what they were thinking of trying to do. But I guess one thing led to the other, and he thought, well, I'll just kill... I don't know how he could kill his own kid like that. You know, I mean, it's one thing to kill sort of a spouse or somebody that you don't even like, and you hate each other, but like you have your own child that just is so evil, you know. It's different. Seems like you would have like an attachment of some sort. Because he just didn't want to... I mean, he probably realized that if he kills her... I mean, I don't even know what the hell his plan was. He wasn't going to get away with it. To me, it seems like, based on how it was planned, that he killed her... Like, he went over there and he was really angry, and he didn't have it all planned out ahead of time, perhaps. And so he killed her, and then he had to sort of improvise and sort of came up with stuff, because he definitely left way too many, just tons of breadcrumbs for the police to follow. Which is good, I like the dumb criminals. They're good ones. I'm looking for the folder. There it is. Well, this is the probable cause document here. We went over this whole thing. Let's see where it stops. I mean, we can, try to go over this again and see if we can make it make sense. So they were reported missing on the 17th, even though nobody had seen him on the 13th. And if I remember right, she was supposed to have somebody babysit her child on the 17th, and then she never showed up, and that sort of started the ball rolling. It's a little bit strange that nobody noticed that she was missing prior to that. So let's see. According to the family member, Karissa and William had not been seen, so Billy, the child, had not been seen since May 13th, 2019. The family member stated this was very concerning to this family member and her family for several reasons. The family member stated on this date they had checked Karissa's apartment, and this part here is pretty interesting. This was something that we knew about at the beginning. And also, I mean, I actually went out to the apartment and took photographs of the door, and there's, they had dusted for prints. It was weird to just still see it sitting there. But what we've known from the beginning is that that they had went over and checked on Karissa's apartment and found the front door unlocked and the television on inside. Items Karissa would need to take care of William, her bank card, and her Oregon Trail card were present in the apartment. And I guess maybe some glasses were in there too. But during a subsequent visit by another family member, it was learned Karissa's, there you go, eyeglasses she can't be without were also located in the apartment. So here we go again with the idiot criminals who, after they take somebody out of the house, they don't take everything. We just talked about this yesterday on another case. You literally make it look like they left without anything they could possibly need to survive. You know, a source of money, medications they might need, the eyeglasses to be able to see so you could do things. The family member stated both of Karissa's vehicles were also parked outside. That's something we learned later on. We didn't realize that both those vehicles were her. Although somebody suggested it probably was, because she was probably driving one vehicle and then there was an application for Western Oregon State College, I believe, on the passenger seat. The family member stated both Karissa's vehicles were also parked outside her above described apartment. Well, there you go again. You have both her means of transportation are there. Her eyeglasses, everything associated with her is in the house. That means she was abducted, and thus the child as well, from that location. And abducted either, after death or while still alive. I think she was killed in the apartment. Somehow he muffled the shot, and he probably strangled the kid. The kid may have already gone to bed, William. And then he probably came in, ended up shooting Karissa, somehow muffling the gun, and then he strangled the child, and then he took him out the back. I actually think that I'm not sure where I have that video at this point. What camera did I shoot that on? But I can show you guys right here what I think. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so I drove out here and I was kind of looking around, but I was even saying that on the show just after looking at Google Earth here. It's right, you go down, there's a space you can walk between the apartments here. And she lived, I think, right here in this unit. And then from what was interesting to me, though, was back here, it's kind of an alley. It's not really a street. So I could see him parking here kind of, whenever he got there. And then he killed him in the apartment and then waiting until, 1:30, 2 in the morning, and then taking each person, maybe, the child first, and then he brought Karissa, put him in his truck, and then he dumped them wherever he dumped them. Let's see if any of that lines up here. Yeah, I mean, he already has kids of his own. The family member told Officer McDowell that this was highly unusual behavior for Karissa. In subsequent interviews with investigators, a family member stated Karissa is never not in contact with either her family, her babysitter, or her employer. The family member also told Officer McDowell that she knew Karissa was recently in court against William's father. That's the Michael character. Detective Sergeant Burke later was able to identify William's father as 52-year-old Michael Wolfe. On May 17, 2019, Karissa and William were entered into LEDS as missing persons. Sergeant Burke and Detective Talon responded to Karissa's residence on May 18, 2019, and verified both Karissa's vehicles were there, and the apartment was as described by the family member, meaning the door was unlocked and the TV was on. One of the neighbors said that the TV was on the same channel for days. And so what that means is, what you can tell from that is the moment that TV was left on. Now, so she may have been watching television, or the TV was turned up really loud to hide the sounds of something. But then it kept playing for all those days, 4 days straight. So you know that that's when the murder happened, probably. I'm almost certain that they were killed inside that apartment. But I could be wrong. During this time, Sergeant Burke and Detective Talon interviewed several friends of Karissa, none of whom had spoken or heard from since May 13th. None of them had heard from her since May 13th. On May 18, 2019, Sergeant Burke and Detective Talon conducted an interview with Michael Wolf at his residence at 2700 Northwest Filch Road, Gaston, Yamhill County, Oregon. See, he lives in that same county that the body was found. Or, 10 miles east of the actual town called Yamhill, and he lives in Yamhill County. At this time, Michael admitted to having an intimate relationship with Karissa about 4 years ago. Michael stated his last contact with Karissa was when they had court on April 15, 2019, during a child support hearing. He also stated he hadn't been to Salem in over a year. Michael stated the hearing did not go well, and he was ordered to pay around $900 a month. Michael stated he does not have Karissa's phone number or an active Facebook account to communicate with her. Excuse me. Michael provided a timeline for the week in question, stating he worked his normal 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. shift on May 10th through the 13th. And it turns out that was true, but that's actually in, let's see. Was this one the one that was right? I think this is backwards right here. It should say 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. So he worked sort of the, I don't know if you call that the graveyard shift, whatever it is. But he worked from 6:30 at night all the way to 6:30 in the morning. And then the following week, Michael agreed to a follow-up interview on May 20th. On May 20th, they conducted an interview with Karissa's babysitter. The babysitter told me she babysits for Karissa. On Mondays. So she babysits on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays she babysits. The babysitter stated she babysat William on May 13th, 2019. So the evening that they went missing, she actually babysitted. And she met with Karissa to return the child. You know, you babysit, and then the parent comes and picks up the child. And that was at 4 p.m. And that she was driving her Mercury Mountaineer, one of the vehicles located at her residence. And there was 2 cars in front of her residence, and I think the Mountaineer was the front vehicle. The babysitter stated over the past 3 months, she had had several conversations with Karissa about William's father, Michael, and Michael's wife. The babysitter, Karissa, told her, the babysitter said Karissa told her they had threatened Karissa that they were going to take William to get custody of him. So she's referring to Michael and her and his wife were trying to take custody. On May 20th, 2019, Detective Emmons received an emergency disclosure of information from AT&T, the phone provider for Karissa's phone. Detective Emmons learned that on May 14, 2019, at approximately 2:27 p.m., Karissa's phone sent a text message. See, this is weird because this is the following day, and she's not alive at this point. So her phone, notice how they word it that way, sent a text message and was found to be using the cell tower approximately 1.4 miles southeast of Gaston. And I found that cell tower. And see, it's just literally, let me go to Gaston right here. Hold on. Yeah. So this is the cell tower. This is exactly what they're talking about. Right here, there's a cell tower right there. Now, doesn't it seem a little suspicious that her cell tower is, her cell phone, excuse me, is pinging way up here, sending a text message the day after she goes missing, and she lives over here, and look who lives over in, you know, closer to that area, right? I mean, here's the mill, and Mike Wolf lives right here, and that's exactly, like if he had her phone on right here, it would ping on that tower. So there's another mistake that he made. He had Karissa's phone. The following day, he goes, "Ooh, I got an idea." And he takes her phone out and sends a text message that we don't know what was said on it. So he takes the phone out and sends a text message, probably one of those alibi texts, like in the Kelsey Barrett case, right? It's probably some text like, "Hey, yeah, I'm just driving around, you know, blah, 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 blah," making up crap. But he did it right where he lives. He's an idiot. Okay, if he was smart, he would have taken her phone and made that text in this area, near her apartment. But instead, he makes it so obvious that he was all the way up, pinging in the exact cell tower. There's only one cell tower in this immediate area right here, and that's it. And he lives right there. And it's also, what I did for you guys was I took the cell tower. It was kind of hard to find it, but I actually literally found the cell tower. You can zoom in on it like this, and you can see it right there. And I think even if you go to different Google Earth times, that you can even see it better when the sun's at a different angle. Like you can, right there, you can see it. And there you go. That one's a really good example. Now you can see the little sectors. It's a triangle shaped one, it looks like, at the top. So it goes out that direction, this direction, and that direction. All right. And then I have the radius here. Let's see what I have that set to. 2.1 miles. But cell towers can go to like 3 to 5 miles. All right. So you're looking at this, and he lives there. Her phone pings inside of this circle that this cell tower hits. Okay? What do you mean, what is this? God. Just listen for a little bit. You'll probably figure it out. So, he kind of screwed up again. He was trying to be clever, and the phone pinged there. So now let's get on. He messes up all over the place. So her phone sent a text message and was found to be using a cell tower approximately 1.4 miles southeast of Gaston, Oregon. This cell tower would place it within the area to include the property of 2700 Northwest Phillips Road, Michael's residence. On this same date, Detective Emmons told me he also received location information placing Karissa's phone in the area of Michael's work at 3200 Oregon Highway 99, McMinnville, Oregon, on May 20th, 2019. Oh, wait, no, excuse me. That there was an end of a sentence there. So what is it saying? What time was that? So on that same date, wow. I wonder what time. So it was 2:27 p.m. But what time? I wonder what time the phone pinged at his work address, which is right there, Cascade Steel Rolling Mills, right there. Here, I'm gonna let Blue in. He's outside. Hold on. Alright, now he's back. Well, thanks, Jess. Alright, so let me read that part again. On the same date, Detective Emmons told me he also received location information placing Karissa's phone in the area of Michael's work at 3200 Oregon Highway 99 West, McMinnville. On May 20th, 2019, Michael was interviewed again at the Salem Police Department after being advised of his Miranda rights. At this time, Michael maintained he had no contact with Karissa or William recently and did not know where they were. Michael further stated he worked his whole shift on May 13th, 2019, which again would be 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and got off work around 6 a.m., which is, yeah, that's correct, that part. But above, they had it backwards. Up here where it says he worked from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and then here it's correct because they say he gets off at 6 a.m., which is a little early. So if you could switch the p.m. to here and then a.m. over there, it would be right. And it was verified that that was incorrect in a press conference. Based on the interviews of Karissa's family members and friends, I believe the only known person who would benefit from the disappearance or criminal homicide of Karissa and William is Michael. On May 21st, 2019, Detective Gamble was allowed to view video surveillance at Michael's place of work, Cascade Steel, 3200 Oregon Highway 99. Michael was seen at approximately 8:45 p.m., which would be a little over 2 hours after he got to work, leaving the area where he works, traveling in a golf cart to a carpenter shop, then walking into a tree line behind the carpenter shop that would have access to the business parking lot. And so what date is that? Let's see. He got off work around 6. Yeah, so listen, I mean, this all makes total sense. On May 13th, he got to work at 6:30, let's say. And then at 8:30 on the 13th, he got off. He's seen on surveillance, 8:45, I mean, on a cart, sort of clandestinely making his way to his vehicle in the parking lot. So he gets in his vehicle, obviously, and he got in a golf cart to the carpenter shop, then walking into a tree line behind the carpenter shop that would have access to the business parking lot. Now, I think I found this particular spot too. And I think this is the carpenter shop right here. Okay, and he went to the carpenter shop, and then if you can see right here, here's a tree line, and there's a fence right here. So he would go through there, and then he would hop over this fence and get to his vehicle in the parking lot. Okay, now I don't know why. Maybe he didn't think, maybe he thought the golf cart would hide who he was as he was driving in the golf cart. Drive it over here, and then he walks through these trees, hops over this fence that's right there. You can actually see the fence if you go to like right here, street view. You can look, yeah, right there. So he parked back behind there, and then he walks this way, jumps over that fence, and then gets right to his vehicle in the parking lot. So maybe he thought it would avoid him having to go through here where maybe surveillance is on there. But if he goes this direction, maybe his car was even parked over here. So he jumped over this fence, and he just gets in his vehicle way over here that's seemingly outside the view of surveillance cameras. Michael was seen at approximately 8:45 p.m. leaving the area where he works, traveling in a golf cart to a carpenter shop. Hey, thanks, Lily. and then walking into a tree line behind the carpenter shop that would have access to the business parking lot. Detective Gamble was told by security at the location that this would be outside of protocol. Slurpees are good. Oh, that was weird. It looked like
thumbs up.
Oh, you couldn't see it
with smiling eyes.
It was weird. The balls were, you know, when somebody donates, they fill up that cup, and Blue was walking in at the same time, and all the balls looked like they were coming out of his mouth. It's pretty weird looking. All right. Detective Gamble was told by security at the location this would be outside of protocol. Detective Gamble was able to see on surveillance, this is important stuff here, that Michael returns out of the same above described bushes at approximately 2:35 a.m. Okay? So I believe, and I think it's going to be fact, that Karissa and William were killed between 8:45 p.m. on the 13th and 2:35 a.m. on the 14th. But given driving time, you could say, you know, probably like 9:15 to 2 o'clock. Okay? Because he left work trying to hide the fact that he's leaving work. And then he, in a minute here, we'll see that his phone then pings in Salem near Carissa's house. All right. Michael can be seen driving the cart. Okay, so at 2:35 a.m., that's when he got back to work. And then you can see Michael driving the cart back to his area of work, but this time he's carrying a white trash type bag that contains some unknown items. At approximately 2:52 a.m. on May 14th, so 17 minutes later, Michael can be seen leaving the main building from a different door, wearing his work shirt now. Now he's all, you know, he's changed clothes. He does not have his backpack, and he is again carrying the white trash bag. You know what you might think about was that maybe he was carrying his work clothes in that white trash bag. You know, but trying not to get it contaminated in some way. I don't know if the bag still has something in it. He does not have his backpack, and he is again carrying the white trash bag. This would not be consistent with Michael's above description or described statement. He was at work this whole shift, because remember he said, oh yeah, I was there the whole shift. That's not true. On or about May 21st, 2019, Detective Emmons received exigent phone information from AT&T for the phone identified as belonging to Michael. Detective Emmons told me the following about the location information he received on May 13th. So here we go. So this is, you know, we see him at 8:45, driving the golf cart, and then around 8:55 p.m., Michael's phone begins using cell towers, indicating it was moving south from his workplace. So here we go. Here's his workplace. I'll get it north-south oriented. And now he's heading just in general this direction. You know, whether it's on that road or what road, I don't know. Okay, but he's heading south. Let's see. Moving south from his workplace. At approximately 9 o'clock, Michael's phone is using a cell tower in downtown Salem. Wow. What are the odds? Jeez. I mean, the night she goes missing, boy, his phone just happens to be down there. So the phone is heading south, and at 9 o'clock, it pings in a tower in Salem over here. Okay, so the total miles here, let's just get that out of the way, if as the crow flies, is 20 miles to her apartment. So let's say 25 miles driving, something like that. So at approximately 9 o'clock, Michael's phone is using a cell tower in downtown Salem. So now he's on his move towards Karissa's apartment. Okay. And at approximately 9:42 p.m., Michael's phone is still using said towers in Salem. On May 14, 2019, at approximately 1:38. So at 9 o'clock, he's getting close to Karissa's house, and the phone keeps pinging on that tower up and even until 9:42. Now, I think at that time, right at that moment, he probably then turned his phone off or something. Okay, he did have a moment of, wait, maybe I can hide that I'm here. So at 9:42, Michael's phone is still using the same cell tower in Salem. And then on May 14, 2019, at approximately 1:38 a.m., Michael's phone starts using cell towers, indicating it was moving north. So now we can narrow it down further. Now we know that Karissa and William were killed before 1:43. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, ESVK. He said, well, you'll hear it. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I've heard the airline one's better.
The office of prison inmate in 2019.
And who's to say a crow flies straight? Like if you throw a candy bar on the ground, it'll dive for it and it's not going straight anymore, okay? So I think that Karissa was still alive even at 9:42. Somewhere around there. Something happened, you know, it's probably a buildup in that apartment. But it's still using the same cell tower in Salem. And then at approximately 1:38, his phone starts using a cell tower indicating it was moving north. So he probably even left there, gosh, I don't know, like 1:25 because, you know, it would take a while to start pinging a different tower. At approximately 1:43 a.m., Michael's using a tower in Kaiser, or indicating it's still moving north. All right, so let's see. Here's where she lives in Salem at this apartment. So now I'll do Kaiser. Let's see. So she's at this apartment right here, and then Kaiser right here, so another cell tower. So he's heading up that direction. Let's see. At approximately 2:12 a.m., Michael's phone is again using a tower near his place of work. All right, so he's all the way back up here. But let me check something out to see. What's interesting though is he drove there a hell of a lot quicker than he's leaving. There's a lot of time, because if you go back up here. Let's see, at 8:45, you see him leaving the area, and then I think it was, let's see, leaving the area at work, traveling in the golf cart, and then at around 8:55, Michael's phone begins using cell towers, indicating it was moving south, away from his place of work, and then at 9, Michael's phone is using a cell tower in downtown Salem. So I mean, he must have been hauling ass. Because that's 20-something miles, and you're talking about, something doesn't really make a lot of sense in that ping information right there. Because at 8:45, he's still in that golf course. He hadn't even left the property probably till 8:50. And then he has a 20-mile drive. So they're saying at approximately 9, though. So maybe it could have been 9:04, something like that. But you see, let's just take a look at it like this, though. At 8:45, you see him on the golf cart, right? And then at 9 o'clock, his phone is already pinging in Salem. So we're looking at something like 15 or 20 minutes. Now you go over to this part where he is at 1:38, the phone starts using cell towers indicating moving north. And then 5 minutes later, it pings in Kaiser. And then at 2:12, his phone pings near his place of work. So you're looking at 22 plus 12, 34 minutes. Okay, but it was only 15 or 20 minutes. So he did something different. You know, perhaps he stopped and got gas. I don't know, but he wasn't dropping off the body during that time. We know that now because it was found way up where he lives. You see what I'm saying? So you've got a 15-20 minute to get there and then 34 minutes to get back. So what was he doing? Did he have... I think at this time, the bodies are in his truck. Or whatever vehicle he's driving. They're in his vehicle. I don't think he would have left them at the apartment. Yeah, who knows? What are you laughing about, Mimi? Man, you got a lot of chuckling going on there. Right. So I think he put... I mean, this is exactly what we said almost on the first show. Do you remember that? That he parked his car back in the alley and put the bodies in the vehicle. And now it makes more sense. And I actually think, you know, I don't know what his car looks like. Maybe it's one of those tinted windows with the thing in the back. And I'm just trying to figure out why there's an extra 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah, I guess he could have got gas, could have got some supplies. You know, I guess why not get supplies while you're in Salem? Because you're going to dump the bodies up near where you live. Let's see. At approximately 4:34 a.m., Michael's phone is using a tower in the area of his residence. See, here's what's weird is all this time here, he's supposed to be at work. So here's where we got it now. He doesn't go back to work. I thought I had read before that he goes right back to work. But look at it. 2:12, Michael's phone is again using a tower near his place of work. Consistent with the general time he can... That's right. God, so let's go back up here now. We got to add this. We got to go back again. See, detective learned that on May 14th at approximately 2:27. Okay. Ah, see, that's weird too. You got to put that in there. See, on May 14th, that's 12 hours later. So where is the part where he was at work again? Just a second. Interview turned in. So location. Okay, Detective Gamble was able to see on surveillance that Michael returns out of the same above described bushes at approximately 2:35. Wow. Okay, so we got to do this in order. So right here it says approximately 2:12, Michael's phone is again using a tower near the place of his work, which is, you know, after he was over at Karissa's house. And then at approximately 2:35 a.m., he can be seen driving the cart back to the area of work while carrying a white trash-type bag. Back. It says back, but I think it means bag. So I think at this moment, right at 2:35, Karissa and Billy are dead inside of his vehicle right now, right at this moment. When he is in this golf cart, Michael can be seen driving the cart back to his area of work while carrying a white trash type bag that contains some unknown items. At approximately 2:52 a.m. on May 14th, Michael can be seen leaving the main building from a different door wearing his work shirt. So now he's trying to leave the building as if everything's normal, and that's just when he's finally leaving. He does not have his backpack, and he is again carrying the white trash bag. This would not be consistent with Michael's above described statement that he was at work the whole day. Okay, then we're down here. So that means he probably left right then. And then at approximately 4:34 a.m., when he's supposed to still be at work for 2 more hours, Michael's phone is using a tower in the area of his residence. So he had left his work. Now he's way up here now, somewhere near his residence. The above described information would be consistent with Michael and Carissa's phone being in the same approximate place during this time. Based on the above described facts, the circumstances of Karissa and William's disappearance, and the fact she has not been heard from since the time the described facts indicate Michael and Karissa were together, I believe there is probable cause to arrest Michael Wolf for the listed crimes. Well, I think it just totally makes sense now. One thing we don't know is when he actually deposited the bodies. Okay? But if we, you go back, well, here's the thing. See, right here it said, at approximately 4:34 a.m., Michael's phone is using a tower in the area of his residence. That's on the 14th. And then also on the 14th, up here, I think it was 4 something p.m., Carissa's cell phone sent a text message from that same cell tower location near his house. Oops. So, yeah, I mean, this guy is toast, but it's interesting to be able to put it all together like that. I wonder how they found out where the bodies were. It's interesting that there was no news. It almost seems like he must have said something, or if somebody helped him, they said something, because it was quietly done. There wasn't a lot of hoopla, as my mom would say. Yeah, he could have told him, cut a deal. No death penalty. Although, but here's the thing. Without a body, he would have a better chance of not getting something like a death penalty. Because I wouldn't even be in favor of that. See, that's one of those scenarios that I'm talking about. Like, I wouldn't give death penalties out if you don't have a body and you don't have, like, a crime scene, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you have to have a whole bunch of these elements in place so that you are 100%. Well, I don't know how to. It's weird because in this case it seems like it's 100%, right? But I think one of the criteria should be that you have a body to get the death penalty. Let's see. Seems like it'd be weird for him to do that, though. I'm not sure what kind of deal. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he just cut a deal. Didn't get the death penalty, I mean, I wonder what the actual, like, how it all went down. It seems like he must have, like, if he had his gun with him, I mean, it seems premeditated if he shot her. Because why would he have his gun with him? Well, maybe he had a concealed carry, Gray. You just never know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I was sad about it 3 weeks ago when we already knew that they were dead. Today I'm happy. I'm like, yes, this guy's busted. They have the bodies. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like kind of reaching there. Had a gun to scare, and it got at, scared to do what? You know, but at the same time, I mean, you know, what Amy's saying is maybe there was. It seemed really poorly planned. So, because of that, it sort of opens up option, you know, a possibility of it being somewhat. You know, more the heat of the moment type of thing. But all that other stuff he was doing seems premeditated. And then, did his phone actually stop pinging at 9:42 and then pick up again later? Like as he was checking his messages after he was done doing what he was doing? Yeah. Could be something like that. But she probably, instead of saying, okay, yeah, I'll do it, she went, oh man, I'm going to tell the cops you were here. They're going to add more to your, you know, it probably was like that. They didn't seem like they seemed really combative with each other. I mean, a smart move would be, okay, I'll drop it. Let him leave, then call the cops. No, we don't know the caliber. Sarah Beth Colagrass. Yeah, he must not have accounted for a couple of the cameras. But he looked like he was trying to avoid the cameras by parking at the carpenter shop and then cutting through the woods. So, yeah. Well, we don't know if he had an iPhone though, do we? So. That's right. See, don't you think that, like right now, don't most of you really kind of get it? Like what happened here in this case? Looking at the map, going over this arrest warrant, it just kind of all makes sense. The timing, everything. And you actually have in your heads the visualization of what happened, right? I mean, I bet you if I handed over the mic to any one of you, you could tell the story in generality, at least. You know. Mike John Wolf and Karissa had a relationship 4 years ago outside of a marriage that Michael had that resulted in a pregnancy by Karissa. Michael didn't want her to have the child, and she decided to have it, and he said he didn't want anything to do with it, and she said, don't worry, I'll raise it myself. Then a couple years later, she became financially, you know, she was struggling, so she went to the courts, and the courts forced a DNA test on Michael, and he turns out to be the father, and then during the court proceedings was forced to pay $900 and something a month, and they weren't really getting along at all. But during these court proceedings, remember, Michael started sending gifts and so forth. We know this based on the text messages, and even some of them were like sexual in nature because he was trying to sort of get back into the good graces and whatever, because he didn't want to have to pay the $900 a month. But it turns out he was going to have to do that, and then I think he just kind of you know, I don't want to use the word snapped, but he decided, I can't let her do this to me. So he's at work on the 13th. His shift is from 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. And around 8:45 p.m., 2 hours and 15 minutes after his shift started, he's seen on surveillance camera walking, on a golf cart, heading towards the Carpenter building. And then he's seen going through a wooded area which leads to the parking area. All right, and then at around 9 o'clock, his phone is pinging in the Salem area. It's still pinging from that same phone at 9:45 in the Salem area. And then it's then picked up again, pinging at like 1:35-ish on the 14th, early in the morning. Yeah, and then after 2 o'clock, he's actually back, like 2:30-ish, he's back over at his workplace, driving the golf cart back in with a white plastic bag this time. And then he leaves the building a little sometime later with his work shirt on. And then sometime after 4, his phone then pings up north of where he works at his residence. And then her phone pings at that same location 12 hours later from a text message. And then yesterday, the bodies were found 10 miles east of Yamhill, right around in this area. Let's just kind of get a general view. It's a really wooded area. So there you go. All makes sense. Right, we said that craft set. We already talked about that. A day late and $1 short, craft set. Day late and $1 short. That's what this pin is right here. 10 miles east of Yamhill. So you can see it's getting it's only about 10 miles from where he lived and only about 12 miles from where he worked. And that kind of makes sense, right? If you put it up here, then you add a significant amount of travel time. Yeah, I don't think there's nobody out there. Yeah, well, listen, there's nobody out there that actually... Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, it's funny because I read west. I think I might have put the pin east. Craft set got me again. What was the... yeah, I mean, the thing is, there isn't anybody out there that thought she was still alive, right? That's funny. I even went east, and then I said, wait, it's supposed to be west, but I never changed it back. Do you guys remember that at the beginning? I got sidetracked. So I guess you weren't $1 short. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do. So that's a very wooded area over here. Look at that. Look at this. Man, that's just absolutely... Just thinking about 100 years, this will be filled with subdivisions and houses. It'll look like just like this. Yeah, so probably somewhere here. Hell, maybe even this road right here. You see that? Or is that a power line? Oh, yeah. I always thought it'd be kind of fun to get on one of these power line things and just go on them. They're like almost like trails that go miles and miles through the wilderness. Look at that. See? Ah. Finishing up the Slurpee. Yep, another murder off the streets. Let me even see if there's any street view anywhere. Yeah, like over here. So, I mean, given they didn't really say it was exactly west, right? So it could have been, you know, there's only a few roads here. I would imagine he would take a side road and maybe dump the body somewhere. But, you know, it could even be clear down here, you know. But, I mean, look how wooded this is. So there's almost no way that somebody didn't tell them where the bodies were, don't you think? It kind of makes you think that he buried the bodies on the 14th after 4 o'clock. Now, sometime, I don't know. I mean, there is time there, though. Like, if he had left, let's see, when was that? Okay, but it's actually up here. At 2:35 a.m. on May 14th, Michael can be seen driving the cart back to his area of work while carrying a white trash-type pack, or bag is what they meant to say, that contains some unknown items. At approximately 2:52, Michael can be seen leaving the main building from a different door. Alright, so it could be that right from work here, let's see how far this is. 13 miles. He winds his way up there. It would probably take 25 minutes. Wow, that's sort of making even more sense now. So you go from 2:52, gets into his car at about 2:55. Let's say he gets out of there at 3 o'clock. About a 25-minute drive. It'd be 3:25-ish to get here. 3:25. Let's say 10 minutes to do something with the bodies. And then let's see how far this drive is. 15, so let's say another 20 minutes or so. 25, let's just say 25 minutes. So that would be 3:25, 3:35, 4 o'clock. He could be back home. He could be. So what does it say down here? Yeah, well, here it says 4:34, his phone is using a tower in the area of his residence. So maybe he took more time. See? But it's close, right? I mean, he dumps the bodies, then he drives back up to his house. And he doesn't even go back to work the rest of the day. So, I mean, I could literally put a timeline in here, like make a video where I drew lines and just keep putting the time in. I might actually do that. You know, because I think what you would just do is draw take some roads that go over to here. About 9 o'clock, 9:45, he's still there. Then 45-ish, starts heading again up here. Then gets back to the Cascade rolling mill. And then at 2:55, leaves there, heads up here, and then goes here after dumping the bodies in this area. There is time. So I actually think, now I'm rethinking that, I think between like 3 a.m. and 4:25, not 4:20, it's at 4:34 a.m. is when he dumped the bodies out here and then just made his way back home and then didn't go back to work that day. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I think he wouldn't want to keep having the bodies with him. I think he only had his body with him for the bodies with him in the vehicle for a short amount of time at work. So they were in his vehicle there. But then he took off, dumped the bodies, and then went home. I'm not sure what he told work as to why he didn't come back to work. Would have been a hell of a lot smarter had he just got off work at 6:30 a.m. and then dumped the bodies. But he didn't do that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. He has plenty of time. I mean, we don't know exactly how intricate the driving was. I mean, he may have, driven into here and took some side road, went way up in there. Had to carry on foot for a little bit because it's stupid again to dump bodies right on the side of the road. I don't think that's what he did. So I think you've got some extra time in there, even though he's only 10 miles west of Yamhill. Man, Craftset must have woke him up in the middle of the night. What was it, 11 o'clock? Just waiting for that. Yeah, I did err. Even though what's funny is I corrected myself early, but then I never fixed it. I said, oh wait, that's supposed to be west. He's like the alarm bell. Or she. I don't even know what Kraft said. Yeah, you might have answered it the other day, but are you a female or a male? That name Kraft set doesn't mean anything. It's not like Kathy, Yeah, well, if my heart was broken, it was when they went missing because we knew that they were dead. Today is it's a good day because their bodies were found, the family can bury them, and it makes the conviction of Mike Wolf 1,000 times greater. That's what I thought. I thought Kraft said she was a female. Right. Now the confirmation doesn't make me extra sad. I wasn't thinking that there was a chance in hell that they were still alive. Find the string. Yep. Let's see. Yep. So it's a Swedish girl. Duly noted, Trent said. No. I think like public execution like Saudi Arabia and all that shit's disgusting. Just barbarians. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think a lot of these people that are killing now just like to kill. I don't think it would stop them from killing. That's what they do. I mean, maybe there's evidence against that, but I don't think it would stop serial killers at all. public executions. Now, I think what would, like I said before, I think the death penalty should be rare and only used on absolutely specific situations where there is zero doubt and that kind of thing. Oh God, here we go, everybody. Oh wow. I don't even know who that was. And that way we can, if they put that in, then
Greetings from Boston, Massachusetts. Drinking my coffee, hugging face, hot beverage, teacup, your number one.
All right, thanks, Firefly. Yeah, and then you could speed up the time of execution. Like, you wouldn't have to have 20 years. But you'd have to have a specific criteria that was all met. It can't just be an eyewitness. It can't just be this. A whole bunch of things have to be in order. And then I think you should execute them quickly. And I think that would then cut down on, you know, maybe some crimes. Because a lot of these people go, oh, crap, I got 20 years anyways. Who cares? Yep. There it says, oogla boogla. So, yep, I guess, you know, for some of you it's a sadder day that they were found, but for me it's a happier day because it means that justice is more likely to be served, and now the family can bury their, you know, the bodies. I mean, it's like, I think that's probably one of the worst things for missing people, when you know that they're actually dead, because there's no way they would just disappear. Like, the family has to live all those years not even knowing where the hell they were. Well, they were found yesterday. It was reported today. Yeah, I don't think they found the biker. But anyways, that was it. I went on a lot longer than I was going to, because I actually thought, well, you know what, we should go back over that affidavit now knowing where the location is. And everything just kind of makes sense. And they searched in this area one time, too. And this is Blue Star Donuts, where he was arrested. Down here in Portland. All right. So that's it, everybody. What do we got? How many people were watching? No idea. Oh, 216. Well, thank you, 216 people, for watching. And thanks, Mary Warner, Just Crystal, a.k.a. Beaver Gaming Sub, ESVK, and Firefly. Let's see. Oh, and then also Margaret on PayPal. Let me check this out. Oh, and let's see. Is it Hike? Heike During. Thank you very much. I don't know if that's Heike or Hike or Heike. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It looks like it's maybe from Sweden as well, or Germany, something like that. Oh, and then another donation as well from that same person. Hike. Or, come on, someone help me out. Maybe it's Heike or I have no idea. Man, I suck at that. I have no idea how to. What do you guys think? Let me see that again. Heike. How do you pronounce that? Give me the phonetics. Just like hike? Okay. Or hike E? Oh, hike? Like Nike, hike. Huh. Well, if all of you were typing the same thing, I might think there was a consensus, but not. Yeah, hikey then? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Very cool. Oh, and then Amanda Belg, too. That was yesterday, but or 2 days ago, but it just showed up. I just saw it. And well, actually, these ones are from, that one's from 2 days ago, too. I missed that one. And this one is from today, so that's okay. Anyways, I really appreciate it, the support of the channel. You know, good news. Their bodies were found, and now this guy will get arrested. I mean, not arrested, but convicted of the murders way, way easier now. Because then they'll link it back to a gun and all those kinds of things, and he's toast. Corpus delecti has been met. All right, so all right, everybody. Thank you for coming on. Blue is not in his bed right now. I think he realized that nobody was looking at him, and he went, okay, screw it. I'm out of here. Now he's in his crate below my feet. I can see him. He likes that better sometimes. Why? I don't know. He shot her for sure in the head. I think it said head. Now I can't remember. Yeah, she was shot in the head. Did you not know what the cause of death yet of Billy is? But you can kind of tell just by saying that it's going to be something like strangulation, where you have to actually do an autopsy, check the hyoid bone, or something of that nature, and then you could tell that he was strangled. That's what I think you're going to get there, or smothered, something like that. So, all right, everybody, thank you for showing up. And I might come on later, but probably not. I'm really tired. So I appreciate you all showing up today, and until next time, be safe out there.